All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first video tutorial on App Inventor. My name is Yinka Lawal, and I'll be your instructor, your coding teacher for this class. All right, so what we'll be doing today is introducing you to the App Inventor interface. Like you know me, I'm your coding teacher, and I'll be teaching you App Inventor for this term. So I'll be teaching you how to build mobile applications using App Inventor. Now, before we start, I want to explain to us what App Inventor is. It's actually called MIT App Inventor because even though it was provided by Google, but it is currently being maintained by Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. So that's why we call it MIT App Inventor. App Inventor is a web-based application integration, integrated development environment, IDE. It is used to build mobile and web-based application that runs on Android and iOS. It runs on Android and it runs on iOS. It uses a graphical user interface similar to that of Scratch. Also, Scratch is also being maintained by MIT. So they are kind of similar. It's a block-based programming. You are like you drag and drop visual objects to create your application, and you deploy it on your mobile devices, and then you install it, and then you run the applications, and that is it. So having defined this, I will be diving into, let me launch the application. First, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen so that you can have a view of what I'm going to do. Okay, I think my screen is currently being shared. Okay, so share screen. Okay, let me just put this off on there. All right, so I'll be taking my video off very soon so that you will not be distracted. But the first thing I would do is to launch my App Inventor. I'm sure by now I've installed for some of the students, and those without laptop, once the laptop is made available, we are going to install on the system. So I won't be teaching you the process of installing it on your system, but let me just run it. So I'll go to my start menu, I tap App Inventor. Let me start again. Okay, App. All right, so let me just, okay, this is the folder. Is this the folder? No, that's not the folder. Let me just open the folder. It's on my desktop, actually. Desktop, AI2 for 64 bits. So this is it. Once I copy this on your system, you launch this app. You launch this app, this AI2U executable, that's .exe. App Inventor is usually web-based. It's usually web-based, but you can also install the app. You can run the app on your local host. Local host is web-based, but then it runs on the local computer. It doesn't run on the internet. it runs offline. And we made this so as to reduce the stress of having to get connected into the internet, get data and all that. So this is the launch environment. For you to start your app inventor, the first thing you have to click on is to run these servers. The all AI2U server, click on it once, and then this screen appears and goes off. If there's an error, it means it won't work. You need to get another installer. You can download it online, a zip file online, and you can also collect it from me. Then this development server, dev server, you click it once as well, launches and goes off. It's right here, it's here. The servers are here. Also the AI2 starter, you click on it once and then it comes off. You skip this stop AI2 server and come to this start invent. Click on the start invent and then your local host will come up. The local host will come up. It's loading. Once it's done loading, all right, for those who want to connect online, there are some basic requirements that you will need. You will need a Gmail account. You will need to have a Gmail account. That's a Google account. You will need to have an App Inventor 2 account. You have to create an App Inventor 2 account. Once you create an App Inventor 2 account, you will need a web browser and you will need an Android device for your testing. Those are the requirements. So you click on this, click here to use your Google account to log in. Click here to use, if you have an App Inventor account, use your account here. But then because this is local host, you cannot use this. You cannot use this because it is local host. It's not connected to the internet and it's not going to communicate with any server on the internet. And it's not going to work. So just come down here, click this, click here to use Google account. I have a Google account, but I don't have an A2I account online. So I'm not using the online, I'm just running it offline. Then you see all your projects here, a list of projects. For now, I've written about 7 projects on this current, let me go back here. So this is the environment. All right, so in this class, we'll be talking about the environment, what it entails. So first, let me take off my video so that you can concentrate and not be distracted by watching me talk. All right, so this is the project environment, and you have the list of your projects. To create a new project, you can click Start New Project here, or you can click Start New Project here. So let us start a new project, demo, call it a demo. Click OK to open the environment. Now, this is the App Inventor environment. This is the App Inventor environment. So basically, the components of the environment, we have 2 parts of the environment. We have the designer interface, the designer environment, and we have the blocks environment. This is the designer here. The blocks environment is at the back. I'll go back to the designer environment. This is the designer environment. Now, on the designer environment, you have 4 aspects that we're going to talk about: the palette, the viewer, the components, and the properties. The palette, the viewer, the components, and the properties. All right. Now, the palette is where you have all your blocks. Your components, your tools that you're going to use in building your app. You know, for every app, there's a front end and there's a back end, just like I've told you in our physical class. There's a front end and a back end. The front end is the graphical user interface, GUI, or user interface, where you get to see. The back end is the code-based, is where the code runs, you know? So the back end controls the front end. Whatever is programmed at the back end is used, is initiated in the front end to give you what you are expected or what is being programmed. All right, so for you to design the front end, you use these tools. They are divided into interface, layouts, media, drawing and animation, maps, sensor, storage, social, connectivity, legal mindstorms, experimental, and extensions, where you can import extensions. All right, so let's go back to the user interface, because basically where user interface are tools, physical tools that you can see, and then layout too. They are physical tools, but not that they help you to organize your layout, as the name implies. They help you to organize it. So if I bring a label box here, I drag and I drop it here. I drag a text box here, and I drag a command button here. See, I'm gradually building. Now, before I do this, and if you check the components here, you will see those tools that I brought out. But I'll tell you what the component does. Let me first explain the viewer. The viewer is where you view whatever you are designing. It's like the screen where you view the front end, what you are designing. You can see the components here as they are being designed. You see whatever you are designing or building. Now the component shows you the tools that you are actually making use of on the design view, like the label box. This is the label box, text box, and button. And not only that, it will show you, you can also rename it here. You can delete. You can rename. You can delete here. Now, renaming is quite important because it is very good for you to name your components so as not to get it confused when you get to the blocks environment, the block environment. All right, so that is that. And then the properties are displayed here. Selected components here displays its properties here on the property bar here. You can see the label is currently being selected, and you can see the properties of the label. If I want to change the back color, I change it to blue, it affects the label. Change it to white, it affects the label. I can change the font, italize it. I can increase the font size to say 28, and then it becomes bigger. Then you can set the height and the width of the label. I can say, okay, I want to make it to feel parent. That is, I want it to stretch from, let me not do for the height, let me do for the width. Width to fill parent, and I click OK, it will fill the parent. I can centralize it, go to text alignment. It's currently left, I can make it center, and it comes to the center. So you see, you can control its properties here. And then for the text box, the same thing. Click on the text box. You can change the you can add a caption, you can change whatever you want to change. You can set its properties. The same thing with the command button. You can check it. You can even put an image on the command button. You can make it an image. You can make it visible. You can make it invisible. You can hide it. It's currently invisible. You can't see it here. You can make it visible. So that's about the properties. All right. There's something else I need to talk about before we move to the blocks. Here, we have a project here. You can save your project. You can save project as another file. You can import key stores and all that. Here, connect. You can run your AI companion. Your AI companion is a program that allows you to synchronize your program that the program you are currently developing to your Android device, such that whether wirelessly or wired, that's connecting through USB cable, or wirelessly using Wi-Fi, while you are developing your app here, you'll be seeing it on your device, on your Android device. As you are developing it, you'll be seeing it, and then you can test it real time. When I say real time, it means while you are developing it, you can be testing it. That is that. Here, the emulator is also another component that's, let me just fire it up so that we can see it. So emulator is another component, another program that launches a simulated or an emulated Android device that allows you to connect, that allows you to test your program while you are running it. It's similar with that of the AI2 companion. The only difference is that this runs on the laptop, while the AI2 companion runs on, okay, it's giving me an error. There's something I need to quickly do. It says the AI starter help does not appear to be running. Let me launch my start manager and stop it and relaunch it. Don't know why this keeps happening, but it does. And when it does, there's still something you can do. This adb.exe, let me end it. That's what actually the executable file controlling the AI2 starter. And then let me launch it again. Emulator. Okay, it's coming up now. So I simply stop that program and I launch it, and my emulated Android device is coming up, as you can see. So while that is going on, we can wait while we continue. Okay, we have to wait for it to finish launching. I need us one. Okay. All right, we have to wait for it to come on. Don't try to force it or do anything. You just have to wait for it to come on. It's advisable you do that. And when you see that it's trying to stop the program, just click on wait and be patient with it. It's coming on. You still wait. It's just like a phone, do be it virtual phone. You is trying to get service, connect, and do whatever it's doing. So if you see things like this, process system is not responding, just click on wait and be patient. Keep trying. I'll keep trying. I need it to come up. Finally, is up. All right, so you can see my app here as I'm building. You'll be seeing it here. So I'll leave this and then I continue. Let's say let me just build a program, a login page, a security page. Let me call this, let me name this, enter your password. Enter your passwords. I'll hit enter, then it has changed. So the text box is our password, but I will not use text box now. Let me delete it. Let me use password box, password text box. There's a password text box. And let me align everything to the center, screen one. I click on screen one here. So the entire screen. So I'll change the alignment to center. That's horizontal alignment. And then the vertical alignment to center. Then I have everything at the center here. Here I'll change this to login. There's the text property now for the button. Login. Let me make it 18. Let me bold it. Where's my bold now? Font bold. Okay, it's bold. All right, so we're set. Now, okay, one other thing I talk about with naming. This is, I'll change this to LBL, that's for label, LBL underscore message. I can make it, I can give it any name I want. But the reason why I choose this is because I want you to know that it is label. I use LBL for label. I use TXT for text box, and I use BTN for button. So I will name this to TXT password underscore password. Yours can be hyphen password. And then we name this to BTN login. So it's advisable you always name your components to make it easier. So we have explained all this. Build. Once you are done with your app, you can save your app as APK. APK is an application extension you use for Android device. And that the full meaning of APK is Android package. So Android package. All right, so you can also save to your computer. There are two ways you can save it. You can save using QR code. You know, you can install application using your QR code, where you scan your QR code and then it will ask you to install, and it will install on your system. And you can save it as .apk, which is what we explained earlier. .apk, you click on it and you save it on your device, your mobile device, or your Android device, or your iOS device. But for iOS, I'm not sure it's an APK. There's another way you are going to save it that it will work for iOS. All right, so let's move on to the block environment and explain. All right, like I told you, we have two interfaces at the block environment, the blocks and the viewer. The blocks and the viewer. This is the blocks here, and this is the viewer. The blocks are the components, that's controls that you are going to use, sorry, blocks that you are going to use to build your application. And I told you MIT App Inventor is a block based, just like Scratch. You drag in visual blocks to visual components to your design, to your block environment, and then you build your app. And we are going to be demonstrating it very, very soon. But let me just explain these blocks first. We have built-in blocks and we have users blocks. These are the user components that was used in building our app. They are all here. All right, under this built-in, we have control. We have several blocks under control. If then, for each, these are loops and conditional statements. Evaluate but ignore, and so on and so forth. Under logic, we have logical blocks, true, false, not, equal to, and, or. Under math, we have mathematical operators and mathematical blocks, the equal to, the not equal to, the plus, the minus, the multiply, divide, exponential, random integer. We have even the sine, cosine, etc. Quite a number of them. Text, we have, under text, we have the string, empty string. We have the joiner. This is used to join two or more strings together. We have length to calculate the length of words. We have compare text, trim, that's to trim text, uppercase, lowercase, you can check the case. Let me trash this. So we have a quite number of components there. Segment test, splitter space, and all that. All right, so list, we have list. If you are making use of list, you can get some blocks here that are helpful. Under colors, you can select colors, and you can also make colors using the RGB color formats. You can split colors and all that. Under variables, you can initialize a variable, you can get a variable, you can set a variable, you can initialize local variable and all that. So now I want to, under procedure, you can build your own procedure. You can call a procedure. You can build your own function, procedure, and all that. You can do that here. All right, so these are the components that we use. And then we want to quickly, let me go to the designer mode. What are we building now? Okay, we are building a login. Now, if you enter a particular password, it should move to the other screen where your program is. So before we do that, we need a second screen, right? So let's create a second screen, screen 2. You add a screen and you leave it screen 2. Screen 2, you can rename it if you want, but I'll leave it as screen 2. If you come here now, you can, okay, this is your screen 2. You can switch back to screen 1. All right. So, but before we begin the program, let me also take time to explain some other components here. Under layout, I told you layout is used to arrange your components on the screen. We have a horizontal layer. You arrange it in an horizontal manner. For instance, you want 2 text boxes to not to stack on each other, but to stand horizontally side by side. You can use the horizontal arrangement to do that. Horizontal scroll arrangement. If you create an horizontal arrangement with a scroll, so it's within the horizontal arrangement that you have the scroll. It's not like the screen will shift to the other side, but it will create a scroll there. Table arrangement, you can create a table and give it various, required number of rows and columns. and then you can use it to organize your components. Vertical arrangement, just like your horizontal arrangement, you can arrange components vertically using the vertical arrangement. And the vertical scroll arrangement also, it's a vertical arrangement that comes with a scroll in case you have more components that extend beyond the screen. And then under media, we have camcorder. You can call up your cameras. You can use a camcorder, external camcorder. You can call up the camera on your phone. You can use image picker, player sound. So these are media. And this media, they are also, some are physical components, some are not physical components. Drawing and animation, balls, canvas, image sprites. Some are physical, some are non-physical. You will not see them, but they are there. Sensor, you have the accelerometer to tell you when your device is shaking or moving, you know. You have the barcode scanner to scan, use it to scan barcodes. You have the clock for timer. You have the gyroscope meter that shows orientation, whether it is a portrait or landscape, it tells you. We have the location sensor. We use it to track the GPS. We have near field. We have orientation sensor. When you are playing games and all that, you can use it. We have pedometer, we have proximity sensor. Proximity sensor is the proximity between your body and the device. You know, when you are making a call on your phone and you place it in your ear, you discover that the screen goes blank. So the proximeter detects that it's closer to your body and then turns it off so that your body will not be pressing the phone or doing some things. Under the social, we have other things: contact picker, email picker, phone calls, phone number picker, sharing, texting, Twitter, and all that. Under storage, we have the file, the fusion table control, the TinyDB, and the TinyWebDB. We're going to be making use of the file, the TinyDB, and the TinyWebDB in some other projects as the time goes on. For connectivity, we have activity starter, Bluetooth client, Bluetooth server, web, and all that. Use it to create applications that run using Bluetooth, and so on, and so on. CloudDB, Firebase, and all that. All right, so having explained these components, let's go down to our code and just finish this project and be done for the day. All right, so the program is to when I click on this login, you should check this password. If the password equals the password, and then it should grant access to screen 2. Else, you should report invalid password. Very simple. So what do we do? The first thing is this is just an introductory class. So, but we need to just test how the app is working. That's why we are doing this. In our next tutorial or next class, we'll be talking about, we'll be building complex, or we'll be building simple project as well, but a bit complex than what we have today. So button click, we have events. Events are triggered, or they are triggered when something is done based on the event that is being programmed. Now, this is a click event. When you click or you tap on the device, it fires this. It says user tap and release the button. Focus. This got focus event said indicate the cursor moves over the button. So it's now possible to click it. Long click, if you press it down. Lost focus, touch down, touch up. That's swiping down and swiping up, kind of. So that's about event. All right, so I'll pick the click event. When you click the login button, what should happen? If the password equals to the password I want to use, you should open screen 2. If not, you should display invalid password. All right, so I will come to my control here. I will need the if then statement. If password equals this, then do this, else do this. So if then else statement is what I need, where I can bring my if then statement, and then I'll plug it here, I'll snap it here, and then select my else. This is my else, and add it here. And then I have my else. All right. So what are we checking? The text properties, that is what will be entered into this text box is what we are checking. Let me be making use of my emulator. So it's what we entered into this text that will be checked. Whatever we enter. For instance, if we type in Yinka, my name, or let me use Ade Yinka, and I click login, it should go to screen 2. Presently, it's not going to do anything because nothing was been programmed. So it's not going to do anything, it's just going to remain like this. All right, so if password equal to, and what's the password? TXT password. That is the text that is in this password. The text that is in this password text box. So we go to this password text box and see the components that are available here. Remember, we are looking for the text that is in that text box password, that password text box. So we'll look here. We'll look at, this is text password background color, text password enable, text password font size, text password height. It's basically showing the properties. Text password height %, hint, visible, text password text. I think this is what we are looking for. So we have text password text. Hold on. We have 2 text password text. We have this text password text. We have set text password text. Now I need to explain the 2 to you. But if you do not remember anything, just remember that one is get and one is set. One is get, meaning the text in the input box can be set by the programmer in the designer or block editor, or it can be entered by the user, unless the code enable property is false. All right. So this set password, we set a password which can be set by the programmer. Okay, it's the same thing. One is set, one is get. Now, set means you are you want to set what is in this password. You want to set what is in this password. You want to make whatever, you want to make it, I will explain this set properly using a program. It will be best done using a program. So we need the text password of this, this guy, right? The text property to be equal to something. And then it will now display screen 2. So I'll pick the get password here. Now, to be equal to, meaning we will need our mathematical component, the equal sign. I'll bring out this equal to. So this equal to will come here. Now I need text password.text to be equal to something. What am I going to use? A string, maybe Yinka, Ade Yinka. Ade Yinka is a string, that is a text. So I'll come to text here. I'll pick an empty string and I'll type Ade Yinka in it. And then I will snap it here. So saying if the text in the text password is equal to Ade Yinka, then it should display screen 2. It should display screen 2. Now, I will come to control here. I will scroll down here, open another screen is what I'm looking for. Open another screen. Open another screen. And open another screen. And what's the name of the screen? Is what's the name of our second screen? Screen 2. Screen 2. That's the name. If you want to show, come here, click on screen 2, go to designer. If you look at the name here, the name is screen 2. Right? So let's go back to the block. of screen 1. All right, so I'll bring an empty string here. I'll name it screen 2 in the manner it is here. All right, so I'll type it screen 2, one word, because it's one word here too. That is it. Else, what do I want you to do next? I want you to change this enter your password to invalid password. So I'll go back to the block. Else, set. Else, I'll go to that label message, and then I'll look for the text property, and then I will set the text property. Set LBL message.text to what? Set it to incorrect password, incorrect, invalid password. So I want it to be invalid password. Now, if I want a string, I can duplicate this screen, and then I change it to what I want it to display. Invalid password. And I put an exclamation mark 3. So let's see this. Let's test it. You know, you have written code now, so it should be running, unlike before when there was nothing there. So let's just type something else. Let's type not, it's not Adenika I'm typing now. So I'll click login, invalid password. You see, invalid password is shown here. Now let me make it correct. Let me type the actual thing. Now select all. Let me change it to D Yin Ka. And then let me click login. Wow, my screen 2 appeared, even in the code here and on the screen here. So it shows that it's working. Shows that it's working. Show that it's working. So let me go back to my screen 1. And then go back to my screen 1 here. Let me go back to my designer. Okay, my screen 1 is showing. Expect this to show my screen 1. Okay, my screen 1 is showing. All right, but I want this. Let me just put a couple of things. You know, it's showing, it was showing invalid password. If you type the wrong password until you enter the correct password, that's fine. So I want the invalid password to be red, color red. Let me just change it. So to make it color red, I will come to the text label box again. I'll go to label.color, set LBL color to what? Red. If I let it change red before it displays that. I'll come to color, I'll pick red. Red is danger. So something is wrong. All right, so let me test with the wrong password again. It's still loading. Go to my designer. Okay, so I put a wrong password there. Wow. So our program is running just fine. So in our next class, we'll be talking about something else. We'll design what we want to build on the second page is screen 2, which is actually the calculator that we are doing in school. So I'll do that. I know we have done that. We have not finished, and I gave you an assignment, but I'll finish it up here, and then I'll put it up and wait for your own solutions too. So I will see you. Let me stop sharing. All right, so I will see you in the next class. I hope this class has been informative, and I'd like to thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now.